Making things even more complicated is the fact that Donald Trump, after suggesting earlier in the week that he might not support the eventual GOP nominee, is tonight telling our own Chris Wallace that he may also be entertaining the possibility of a third-party run for himself.
Are you ruling out running as an independent third-party candidate? Are you ruling that out?
Look, I'm by far no, it's not that simple. I'm by far the front runner as a Republican. I want to run as a Republican. I will beat Hillary Clinton.
But if you don't get the nomination?
We're going to have to see how I was treated. I'm going to have to see how I was treated. Very simple.
Joining me now, Ed Goaz, pollster and president of the Terrence Group, and David Wohl, a Trump supporter, California attorney, and political analyst. Good to see you both. So this is fascinating because in the same 24 hours as Trump called for unity in the Republican Party, he has said he wouldn't support, he doesn't need Ted Cruz's support, and now that he might run as an independent. Ed, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, what we've seen out of Donald Trump over the last 72 hours is a candidate that's kind of spiraling out of control, both in terms of how he's answering certain questions and his back and forth on these issues. I mean, the bottom line is that if he gets to July and he's not happy with the way he was treated and he decides he's going to run as a third-party candidate, he has a couple of barriers there. One is that 46 of the 50 states have sore loser laws. Now, not all of those will hold in a presidential year, but some of them will, so he won't be able to get on the ballots. Second of all, it takes a lot of organization, a lot of money to get on those ballots. I mean, he hasn't shown that organization in his campaign. Why all of a sudden is he going to have it as an independent candidate?
So, David, it is true, even Ohio, and Ohio's Secretary of State has said he means to uphold the law in this case. The Ohio Secretary has said he intends to hold Trump to his Republican affiliation, so if he tries to run as an independent, it sounds like he won't get cooperation in Ohio, which you need. But if he runs as an independent, it would be as a spoiler. I mean, I don't know that he would be meaning to win so much as to spoil the Republican Party that he feels treated him unfairly.
Well, Megan, one of the hallmarks of a great leader and a great negotiator is you never take anything off the table, and that's the way Mr. Trump is. Look, let's remember something when we're talking about this doomsday scenario. He's up by 300 delegates. He's got California ahead, 172 delegates. He's got New York ahead, 95 delegates, and he's leading huge in New York by 36 points. In California, the only credible poll I've seen has him up by 10 points. He's got Maryland, he's got Connecticut, he's got Rhode Island, Pennsylvania. It's proportional, sort of. You get 13 points if you win, or 13 delegates, I'm sorry, and then each different congressional district you can get up to 3, up to 172, and there's a lot of conservative, really conservative Republicans in California that would put him very close to, if not all the way up to 172 delegates. So this idea that somehow and he wants Wisconsin. Don't kid yourself. He wants that state, but he's got conflicts with Governor Scott Walker, and that may be hurting him a little bit in that state. He still thinks he can win it, but I'm telling you right now, if he loses Wisconsin, he's still got huge states ahead that I think are going to put him possibly up to 1,400 delegates.
Go ahead, Ed.
Nice spin, but that's not what the numbers are. And to show you how the Trump campaign doesn't even understand the numbers, today they kind of backed away from they'll win Wisconsin to we're at least going to walk out of Wisconsin winning half the delegates. Now, if they don't win Wisconsin, they lose a certain number of delegates. But to be able to walk out of Wisconsin with half the delegates would mean they'd have to win a plurality in 7 of the 8 congressional districts. You don't do that and not win the state. So they have a lot of spin in terms of the numbers.
What about David's point, Ed, that, okay, let's say that Trump loses Wisconsin to Cruz. Then he's looking great in New York as of now, and then California happens on June 7th. That's the last day of the primaries. There it's a dogfight, and Ted Cruz is fighting for it. That's actually one of the untold stories of this campaign. But New York is delegate rich, and he could win. Trump could win California as well.
Let me first of all, in terms of Wisconsin. His problems in Wisconsin are not with Scott Walker. His problems in Wisconsin is with the voters of Wisconsin. He's upside down on his favorable, unfavorable. More people are unfavorable towards him than favorable. With women, it is a 21-point deficit in terms of, and we're seeing this in other places across the country. And the fact of the matter is, if he doesn't win Wisconsin, he would have to win, even if he won 100% of all the delegates between now and California, he wouldn't get to that margin. And 40% of those are proportional. So when you look at the numbers, he loses Wisconsin. he loses Wisconsin, the opportunity or the likelihood of a contested convention, open convention, goes up exponentially.
Ed is not the only one to say that, David. I've seen that in several pieces, that it doesn't mean he's lost, but it certainly significantly jeopardizes his chance of going into that convention with the 1237.
Yeah. Megyn, I see Wisconsin as a hyper-local problem for Mr. Trump, and I do think that his conflict with Governor Scott Walker plays a large role in it, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense. But if he takes some delegates in Wisconsin, what does his lead change to? Goes from 300 to 275 with huge states ahead? I mean, again, Megyn, the momentum factor is not going to be boosted by losing Wisconsin if he does. New York is so huge, 95 delegates, and his lead is so big. That's the state that could get him a huge momentum boost and put him over the top well on his way to 1237. And I got to say, Megyn, the idea that it's going to be contested, the problem with the contested convention, the risk you face with people revolting from the party, leaving the party, turning their backs on the party is so huge. I think that the leaders really want to avoid that at all costs.
Well, contested convention, the leaders cannot avoid. They cannot avoid or not avoid it. The numbers are what the numbers are based on how the states vote between now and then. Somebody's got to go
I'm saying they want to pull the rug out from the will of the voters, usurp the will of the voters. They want to avoid
the will of the voters.
Go ahead, Ed.
Wait,
go.
That is spin. The fact of the matter is, in terms of up until today, of all the votes that have been cast, Trump has only gotten 38%. There is a third of Republican voters that dislike Trump as much as a third that is for him. So for all the talk about we're going to have all 1/3 of the party walk away, the fact of the matter is we may just as likely have another third of the party walk away if he is the nominee, because their dislike for him has been driven so deep, especially with Republican women, has been driven so deep that we run the risk of not only losing the White House in the fall, but losing the Senate.
Okay, we've got to leave it at that. Good debate, both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Megyn.